you have your notes open, all right? And we're going to start talking about equations of lines. I'm going to bring up an equation up here, y equals 2x plus 4. I'm going to talk about it for a quick moment. Y equals 2x, just a second. So you have, this is in the form y equals mx plus b. If you want to put that somewhere on your paper, this is a form that you're going to see over and over and over. In your equation, which one is the 2? Y equals 2x plus 4. What part of the y equals mx plus p is the 2? It's the what? M. The m. Okay. What about the 4? B. It's the b. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring up a graph, and we're going to try to figure out what part the 2, what part the 4 is, what part the m, and what part the b is. This is review from previous, but if you don't remember it, that's okay. This is review from previous. So let's see if you can remember it. All right. I've got this, and this is on yours. It's in the top left of yours. I brought it big so we can really see it. Do you see something to do with this line and a 4 somewhere? This is called the what axis? Do you remember up here? The y-axis. So up here on the y-axis, right here, the y-axis, it is crossing at 4. Okay? All right? That is the b part. Okay? Do you see anything with a 2? Be really cautious, but yes, I bet you're going to see it. Go ahead.
The negative.
It's the negative 2 here. Be really cautious. It looks like that's going to, wait, it's going to be, let me show you something. That would be a very good observation. It looks like it might be the x-intercept. I want to show you something. From that first dot that I drew right there to the next one where it crosses a nice corner, I want you to notice something. How many are there?
2.
All right, let's do it again. Here's another corner, right? How many are there? 2. And 2. All right, that is not a coincidence. That is this 2 right there. All right. I want you to also notice that it's 1 over each time. So the stair steps are taking a 1 over and a 2 up, a 1 over and a 2 up, a 1 over and a 2 up, because this over here is a 2 over 1, okay? That's my 1 over and 2 up. Let's do another one. Let's go to the next. All right, I'm going to bring that one, kind of move it over to the side, and I'm going to bring another one up. I've got, what do you think is going to change between this line and the one you had before?
It's going to be a negative 4 where it's crossing the y.
So it's going to be at a negative 4 where it's crossing the y. What is it? Something's going to stay the same. Those stair steps, the slope is what we're going to call it, but those stair steps are going to stay the same. So let's look at it real quick. All right, so it's crossing the y-axis at the negative 4 instead of positive 4. But are my stair steps staying the same? So let's check. I've got some dots here I'm going to draw. It's still going the stair steps up to and over the 1. So this part, which I brought up, that's going to be called the slope. Those 2's are going to be called the slope. And they stayed, all right? All right, let's look at another one. How is this going to change? How is this going to change putting a negative in front of that 2? What is it going to do to the line this time?
The slope is going to be the opposite direction.
So instead of going
to the right, it's going to be going to the left.
Let's check. Here we go. And it's going to cross the y-axis at this one, still at the 4. It's going to cross the y-axis here, but this time, I'm going to be going down 2 and over 1, down 2 and over 1, down 2 and over 1. I want you to notice that this is, if you're walking on this, if you're taking a walk across here, this is going to be going downhill, okay? Mm-hmm. Which the negative is going to make that. Put that aside. Notice how these first ones were going uphill here. And this last one was going downhill. Okay. Let's bring this one. I want you to make a prediction. Where is this going to cross the y-axis? At the negative 4. Is this going to be going uphill or downhill?
Downhill.
Downhill. All right, let's check it. Okay, it's going downhill. It's crossing the y-axis at 4. You guys were correct. This is the y-intercept. It's going to be going down 2 and over 1 and down 2 and over 1. When we wrote this y equals mx plus b, the m part is this stair steps that we have drawn here. This is called the slope. If you want to put that somewhere in your notes, there's plenty of room on that page for that. And this b part is called the y-intercept, or where it crosses the y-axis. I'm going to abbreviate intercept. Some people have asked me in the past, why is it called m and not s if it's the slope? And this is the explanation that I have given. S, if I put an S in there, sometimes that turns into a 5 on some people's paper. So S is not usually. And I don't know why they picked an M. Maybe it's another, maybe it's French or Spanish or something. But I don't know. But this is the way I remember it, though. M is for mountain. And mountains have slopes, okay? B, I don't know why they chose the letter B and not L or Q or T or something. But the way I remember it is when we're going to graph these in a couple examples, we're going to begin, this is a B for begin, we're going to begin with the y-intercept, okay? So let's review here real quick. These lines had a slope and a y-intercept. You might have already written it down. You can write it again if you want, but it's on your paper actually. They all have a slope and a y-intercept. But which one of these are parallel?
Huh?
We have some parallel lines. What are parallel lines? We're going to talk about those in it. But if you might have heard that term before, what are parallel lines?
Lines that go across but don't touch.
Yeah.
Like lines that
Lines that don't cross. They like run together. Oh, really, side by side, right? Okay. So I've got the top two up here are parallel, right? These are parallel up here, and these are parallel down here. What on the equations would make them stay parallel?
Huh?
This was A and this was B, right? This one's A and that one's B. Those are parallel. What about the equations?
One goes up, one goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
What's the same in A and B equations? The 2x. And what part of the 2, what does we call that? What part, the slope or the y-intercept? The slope. Notice that the slopes are the same and they slope the same direction, right? Mm-hmm. These ones, C and D are also here, right? And their equations, what do they have in common?
Negative.
They have a negative. They both have the same slopes, both -2, correct? So we're going to talk about that. And this is just like one of those advertisements. Hopefully, it'll be in your head. Like next week, we're going to be talking about parallel lines with their equations. Okay. All right. Hopefully, that'll ring a bell back if you remember it. Here is an equation. If you'll turn the page of your notes. Turn the page of your notes. It's on there already. It's large and large, okay? This is the equation. I've even written on that page the little stair steps. Do you see it? The word slope has the little stair steps on there. I have the end part, and then there's a little explanation. They talked about the change in the y in your notes there. The change in the y. Change just means it starts at one point and it goes to another. And notice to figure out how it changed in the y direction, we're going to subtract. The y is on the top and the x is on the bottom. That's just the way it works. Nobody decided it that way. It really needs to be on the top of that fraction. This is how we can figure out the change. You will want to commit this to your memory. You're going to use this over and over. I would suggest you put it at the top of your paper when you're doing your homework. We're going to do some examples of these. You have 6 of these kind of problems. We're going to do 2 of them together. So if you'll get out your assignment sheet, your assignment sheets, the algebra review, number 1 and 2 are right here. We're going to do those together, okay?
Wait, which one?
Number
In the homework?
your homework. Yes.
Which?
The very first one, the
Very
algebra
first
review. Very first page of it.
Looks something like this. Is the new part.
There it is. There it is. Very good. Okay, here we go. We're going to use this formula. I'm going to put an m equals. I want you to notice up there that we're going to subtract the y's. So I always like I like positive numbers. So I want to always figure out Do I want to take 19 minus 5 or 5 minus 19? Oh, no, my bad. No. They're doing the y's. 8 minus a negative 2 or negative 2 minus 8. You at the first part get to choose. You want 8 minus a negative 2. Okay, so we got 8
then that
minus
would also make it
a
19
negative
minus
2.
5. So then that would, so both of them would be better. Because then you'd also have 19 minus 5.
So I want you to notice, I picked the 8 first. So I have to pick the 19 first when I'm on the bottom. So whatever you picked first has to be to get. So I have the 19 I've got to pick now. I've got to do 19 minus 5. I'm subtracting the x's, the y's first, and then the x's. What is 8 minus a negative 2? What do I do to that? That minus, what does it become? It becomes a positive.
Yeah.
All right, so that's become a 10. And 19 minus 5.
14.
I can reduce that fraction. I can take a 2 out of both. Take a 2 out of the 10 and it's a 5. Take a 2 out of 14 is 7. Your slope is 5 over 7. Let's do number 2. I want you to get some practice with this. I'm going to write an m equals. We're going to do the y's on top. The y's are the 13 and the 8. Do you want to do 13 minus 8 or 8 minus 13? You choose. You want 13 minus 8. Is that correct, Amy? 13 minus 8. Okay. 13 minus 8. Now notice, I picked the 13 first and the 8 second. So I have to pick which one, 14 or negative 7 for the bottom, the 14. Minus a negative 7. I always love to make my negatives become a plus. Give me like this eye contact or some little indication that you're finished with number 2.
Oh, like finished.
So that
Finished?
like finished, got the answer. Okay.
I kind of want to look ahead while you're talking.
I'm going to jump in now. What is 13 minus 8? 5. How many got 5? Okay. What is, and I made the negative become 2 pluses, so we have 14 plus 7. What's that? 21. Can that reduce? No, you are done. Okay. All right, I've done 2 examples from your homework on how to find the slope. We're now going to go to some other stuff and do some examples together. We're going to graph some equations. We learned about y equals mx plus b, and we're going to do number 5 and 6 together. I'll let you do the other, finding the slopes by yourself at home. And we're going to go to numbers 5 and 6 on your homework. We're going to graph these together so I can show you how it works. Remember, we have y equals mx plus b. Which one did I say was going to be the begin, where we are going to begin? B. So we're going to, and in this equation, y equals 5 over 2x, plus 3, which one is b? 3. So we're going to come to the y-axis, okay? And I'm going to put a point on the 3 on the y-axis. I'm going to change colors because that blue up here is a little hard. Is that better? I don't know. Was the blue, I'm going to, maybe a dark blue. Very dark blue. Better. Okay. Now, this 5 over 2 tells us how high we go up and how far we go over. The 5 is how far we go up or down if it's negative. And the 2 is how far it goes over. So this is called the rise, that's the up, and the run. We're going to rise 5 and run 2. There's going to be a small problem. Can you rise 5?
No.
All right.
So can't we do a double negative?
We can do a double negative. We could go down and backwards and be the same. So normally we would rise 5, but if I try to rise 5, I'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't really, that would be a bad estimate. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and backwards 1, 2. So I'm going to put my dot right there. I would suggest, you can't, you don't have enough, but if you could go another point, that would be the best, but if you can't, I understand.
Down?
Yeah, we went, see what we did is,
Yeah, you have to draw one more line down on the bottom.
yes, we couldn't do it. So, Brett, if I tried to go 5 up from here, I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would be off my graph paper.
Yeah.
And so we can't go up and over, but we can go down and backwards. And so what we did is we made this a -5 over a -2 and a negative becomes the positive that we wanted. So we went down 5 and backwards 2. And then you just use your straight edge. Please use a straight edge now that you have all this equipment with you. You getting these little squiggly lines in here doesn't really help anybody grade it well. All right, so get yourself a straight edge. And let's see if I can pick it up.
I can't even draw straight.
And I could even put arrows. You technically should put arrows on the end because these are lines, not rays. We're doing geometry. So you need to put arrows to indicate that they keep going forever and ever and ever. I should do that. So I can go like that and like that. There we go. Got my arrows. Okay, so then over here on the next one, we're going to have a y-intercept of what?
3.
3. It just so happens that these are 3 again. I don't know why, but they decided to have 3. Now, we have a negative, and there's not a denominator. What goes on the denominator of our
1.
1? So we're going to go, are we going to go up 2 or down 2?
Down 2.
Down.
Down 2 and over towards the positives 1. So I'm going to go 1, 2,
It looks like a 3.
over 1 right there. So we're going to go down like that is what it would be to there. I'm going to keep going again. Down 2 and over 1 because you have room. You might as well.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you get a straight line, okay? Then I'm going to draw mine. I have to draw it in 2 parts because I can't get the right angle or the slope without it.
Oh, wait, I have to draw my line.
All right, let's go into some more of these stuff that we're going to do with lines and with parallels and stuff. All right, now we're going to be finding an equation. We are going to find the equation. I've got y equals mx plus b already here for you. Right there. Oh, no. Right here. If the slope, what letter is the slope? M or B? M. And which one's the y-intercept?
B.
Okay, so I'm going to just put that there. I'm going to say, you don't have to write this part if you don't want to. I am putting it up there for my notes. This is the M and this is the B. So in the negative 4 is going to be substituted in for M. The 5 will be substituted in for B. And we will write the equation like this. Y equals negative 4x plus 5. We will substitute in. This is our substitution property of equality. We've been talking about that before. We're going to just substitute the 4 in for the M and the 5 in for B, and you will be done with that equation. That is done.
Wait.
One more time. Okay, so they're wanting you to write the slope-intercept form of the equation, and they've told us this, and so we just substitute the 4 in for the M and the 5 in for the B, and we have gotten our equation. I want you to try it with number 10 now, and just let me know that you're finished. I've got 1 person who is, 2 people who are. I think 3 people are.
I'm just kind of...
Just did all of them.
Well, the more I do now, the less I have to fly on the
Exactly, yeah.
plane. So what do you think I'm doing?
Yeah.
And our slope is negative 2/3. I'm going to put a negative 2/3 x. Then what? Plus 1. Very good. All right. These 6 that are on your paper, these ones should have no work. That is, you just substitute in and you're done.
You're just like writing down.
Just
something
writing it
and it's
down,
like,
okay?
I'm done.
Just practice knowing the the part that you would be graded on is if you put the slope and the y-intercept in the right place and that you know where they go. Okay.
Make sure they have the negatives.
And the negatives in the right spot and the y equals and all that stuff. Now the next ones, you're going to have to find the slope now.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry. They're going to give you a slope and you have to find the y-intercept. Okay? They have given you, now this time, you're going to find the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line through the given point and the slope. So this is what I'm going to, this is really cool. You're going to like this. This is the m. You with me so far?
Yes.
This first thing is the x. You with me so far?
Yes.
The second one is a y.
Okay.
You with me so far? Okay. I personally love to rewrite my equation because you don't have to. I like to substitute the things in. So in the place of y, I'm going to put the 2. In the place of the m, I'm going to put the 2/5. Terrible 5. What am I going to put in the place of x?
-5.
All right.
Wait a second.
Plus b, we do not have b, okay? We do not have b. We need b.
Yep.
So is that what we're
Okay.
trying to do, doing this equation to find b?
That's exactly right. That is our purpose. That's our goal. Now, those of you who need help with fractions, many of you have a calculator that does that. But they're likely to give you kinds. This is in the numerator. This is in the denominator. What happens?
Cancel.
They cancel, leaving you with what? Just what?
Negative.
A negative. So
Okay.
I'm gonna get my red.
Okay, the denominator.
Well, the bottom, like if you put it as a fraction, you put a 1 on the bottom, so
Right.
technically it leaves you with like a negative.
Yes.
A negative. So
I
this
thought
will
you were
be
asking the
like,
whole
I-
answer.
Exactly.
No.
She wanted to make sure that you knew that the
Yeah.
2 and the negative go together. So
And
I'm going to
then-
bring down my 2. There'll be a negative 2 left when this cancellation happens, plus the b. Our goal is to find b. I'm going to move that 2 to the other side. You can show that if you want. You don't have to. I'm going to add the 2 to both sides.
So sort of like just a regular equation, you're just adding different numbers in for different letters.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
all the time, over and over. Now, we are not finished. We are not finished once we find b, so be careful. Our goal was to find b so that we could plug it
Now we
in
have to make
to the equation, okay?
Yeah.
So be careful. Don't think you're done. We're going to have y equals, what's the slope?
Wait, what did you get for B?
I got 4.
4.
Yeah, that's right.
b 4, not after. Okay,
So the slope is 2/5 and then b is
yes,
gonna
I
be
need to have a
4.
different color if I'm going to do down there.
So
Y
three
equals,
2/5.
that better.
Yeah.
2/5. Don't forget the x, that's a common mistake.
Wait, do you actually have to put the -5 in that place now? Or
No,
it's
not
still
at all.
an
You
X?
just leave the x. That's
Okay.
we're finding it. Yes, and then plus our b. We're finding b now. So what was b?
4.
4. Not after. I'm gonna do that again, just because I like that. Okay, 4.
Wait, so
Gotta give a little joke. Not
is that
before.
it?
Yes, that is the equation. We're gonna do it again because you need to have this cycle of how to do things. All right. I like to write my equation y equals mx plus b. What are we putting in the place of y?
-1.
Very
-1.
good. -1. What are we putting in the place of m?
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
-5. Alright, no. -1/5.
-1/5. Oh, terrible 5.
I think I'm gonna like my plane ride down to Hawaii.
Good. What are we putting in the place of x? Which one?
-5.
-5. And see if I can squish it in there.
And you missed algebra, Amy.
What?
Plus.
You missed algebra.
Well, these are like my favorite
B.
things to do because they're so easy.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is like add it all up and you're done.
No proofs. No proofs.
No proof.
All right. Now, I want you to notice they did a nice thing for you again. Not they will always do it, but they did a nice thing right here. What's going to happen to my
Cancel.
5? They're going to cancel. But what happens to the negative here?
It goes to negative.
Be careful. I have a negative and a
Oh,
negative.
that's a negative.
A
Oh.
negative and a negative becomes a
Positive.
positive. Positive what?
1.
1. -1 equals 1 plus b. Be careful. This is not how it's always going to be. Notice we have the same numbers on both sides except one's negative and positive. It's just a fluke right now. That's not going to always happen.
To make it kind of easier, couldn't you just make the 5 the negative and just cancel it out right there? So all you have to do is
Yes.
bring the 1 over.
Yes, you could have. You could have put that negative on the bottom right there and just canceled it. Totally.
Wondering.
All right, so b is going to be how much?
Give me a second. Wait, what did I just say? Oh yeah. -1, so -1 -1. Yeah, wait, I don't know.
What is -1 minus 1? Negative.
2.
Very good. Change my color because I can't see it when I write it down there. We're gonna do y equals. Don't be. You're not done when you find b. Y equals what x?
Negative. Oh wait. Yeah, negative 1/5
Good. X. Then what?
I see what I'm doing wrong.
equals -2.
Oh.
Do you need help? You got it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep dividing instead of subtracting, which is why I kept doing it wrong.
Okay. So, but I'm glad you found your mistake now and not have to struggle later. All right. They're progressively getting a little harder and a little harder and a little harder, but not undoable. Okay? So the last kind of example for this, their first equation they gave us was a slope and a y-intercept. The second one, they gave us a point and a slope. Now they're giving us 2 points. You're going to need more space because we need a slope. Do you know how to find a slope if you have 2 points? I want you to go to that second page of notes that I gave you today. The second page of notes that I gave you today, there is an equation on it. That second...
So the second page in the note?
Yes, the second page in today's notes, right there. There is a equation.
Oh, yeah. M equals.
M equals, I'm going to write it up there. It's going to go, no, it might not. M that'll work. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You have that in your notes. I personally really like it when I write them on my paper in front of me so I don't have to flip back and forth between things. That drives me crazy. Oh, let's do that again. I flipped to another cut. I flipped to a new... That's where I wanted it. Okay, I'm putting it up here. Okay, here we go. So we first have to find the slope. So you're going to use the stuff that you learned. We're going to have m equals... Do you want the m's, the x's are -5 and 3. You want -5 minus 3 or 3 minus 5?
3 minus -5.
You like the 3 minus minus?
Wait. Does it have to go -1 minus negative?
We always do, if you notice the equation has the y's on top.
That's the one.
Yes, yes. I'm glad we fixed that for you. It's better to make the mistake now than on your homework. So Brett, okay, that will work for you. If you wanted to do the -1 minus 0, because it'll work the same way for Nariah, she wanted the -3 to be first, or the 3 to be first. 3 minus -5. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. We're going to have positives. And I'm going to get something cool on top.
We're going to have a -1 on the bottom.
And a -1. So an 8 and a -1. What does that reduce to? What is 8 divided by -1? Plain old -8. I heard somebody whisper. I don't usually hear whispers well, but I saw your lips too. So, all right. We have a slope. We're almost there. We have an M now. We need a B. We're going to use the same procedure we used at the last examples. But you get to have a choice. I'm going to just make my little spiel. In this world, everyone's telling you what to wear, what not to watch, who to talk to, who you're not supposed to talk to. But I'm giving you a choice. I'm giving you freedom. You get to choose one of the 2 points, and it doesn't matter which one you choose. You can choose the first one or the second one. You can choose the second one or the first one. For simplicity, I personally love it when I get a 0 in something because it multiplies out or something happens and I don't have to do a lot of work. I am choosing this first time to do that one, okay? And you could choose the other one and you'll get the same answer. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to rewrite our y equals mx plus b. You don't have to write that again, but I like it so that I can see everything. Just like the previous example, x will be 0 from right there. Y will be -5. And and m will be that negative 8 that we just found. So I'm going to do negative 5 equals negative 8 times 0, and anything times 0 just goes away. I love it. Plus b. That becomes 0 right here, so it's just gone. So b will be how much? Negative 5. Am I finished?
No.
No, be careful. My goal is to find the equation. So y will equal negative 8x, then what?
Plus negative 5.
Or you can say plus negative 5 if you want, or you can just say minus 5. I personally love to not write a lot. Even that little extra plus negative makes me crazy. Notice a lot of things make me crazy. A lot of things make me crazy. And I can point that out, you guys. You guys could not say, you notice how everything makes you crazy? You can't say that to me, but I can. All right, we're going to do the same thing right over here. We're going to find the slope first. We got to do the y's on top. That's the thing that most people make a mistake. So the y's are the negative 2 and the 4. Do you want to do 4 minus negative 2 or negative 2 minus minus 4? No. Negative 2 minus 4. What do you want, Amy?
4 minus 1.
You want 4 minus minus?
Yeah.
Speaking kind of fast right there. 4 minus minus 2.
That way's positive.
That way's positive. I love positive numbers. So if we did the 4 first, we have to do the negative 4 first on the bottom. And it's a 0, so that's really nice too.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about money, no one wants zero money, but when you're doing math, zeros are nice.
It's like so much fun.
Mm-hmm. So these are going to become positive, and that's going to become 6 and a negative 4. Am I done with that 6 and negative 4?
No.
I can reduce to take a 2 out of each of those. So I'm going to have I'm going to put the negative out front. It'll be 3 over 2. That is my slope.
Okay. And now you have to do the other.
Now we have to do the other. Very good. And make it a little smaller so I have some room. You guys are doing great. I'm going to be working slowly. You guys just work because you guys are wanting to do this and get it done. And try it yourself. Which point did you guys pick? The first one or the second one?
First.
Because it's got a 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to put a negative 2 in. An m of 3/2, especially when you're multiplying by that crazy fraction. You'd love to have a 0 there. Right, okay. So b is, I got a negative 2. Please make sure you got a negative 2. If you didn't, look on up here and let's figure it out together. Am I finished when I find that b is negative 2?
No.
No. Y equals what? And what?
Y equals negative 3 over 2x plus negative 2.
Negative 3 over 2x plus negative 2, or instead of plus negative 2, you could write a minus 2. Either one is the correct answer. Amy, just know that on the answer key, they probably won't say plus minus, but it won't be wrong if you do.
Yeah, I've run into a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. Especially like when we do the letters, when you're trying to mark those diagrams, they'll put them backwards sometimes compared to you.
Kind of like the list all the information given by the marks on the diagram.
Yes,
Yeah.
you constantly have, and that's actually really good for your brain, because I'm right, I know it, but you have to figure it out if you
For
are.
some reason, mine is always flipped the opposite way. Like
I think they put them in alphabetical order.
I figured that out
Yeah.
after I was grading my homework.
I don't know why,
Yes.
but it's always backwards.
Yes.
So.
Today we reviewed or brought to your attention the word slope. Okay, we learned what slope was. You found out how to graph in the slope-intercept form, this is called, or y equals mx plus b form, and we found equations of lines with 3 different scenarios. Okay? All right, we're going to move on to the next section.